everyone, and welcome to 3 Minute Warning.
The show where we take 5 of the hottest topics in sports and break them down into 3 minutes or less. My name is Michael Medina. With me, as always, my good buddy, David Griffin.
We're also joined by Stephen Fox, up in the booth, our producer, making it happen. Say hello, Stephen.
What's up, guys?
So you can get right into it today, talking about some UFC Ultimate Fighter.
Not good news.
Not good news, though. Johnny Bones Jones, UFC light heavyweight champion, the 205-pound division, the youngest UFC champion in the history of the UFC. 8 title defenses, was arrested, turned himself in, I guess. He had a warrant. He had a warrant for his arrest.
It took a while to turn himself in.
It took a while. He
Didn't do it immediately.
Hit and run accident in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is where the Jackson camp is located, where he trains. Hit a pregnant lady, which is never good. You don't hit pregnant. Not that you should hit anybody in a car, but especially when it's a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
People get offended. People don't like you hitting pregnant women. Hit a pregnant woman. She's okay. I mean, well, broken arm's not good. She's going to have an ultrasound, I believe. Today, it's Tuesday. She's going to have an ultrasound today, check everything out. Hopefully the baby's okay. But turned himself in, out on bond. Not looking good for Mr. John Jones. Got a big fight next month against Anthony Rumble Johnson.
I'm sorry. The guy's an idiot. He's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This guy, one of the better fighters in MMA, an amazing fight. He's well-deserved. Everything he has, he's deserved it. But, like, going back a few months, he got busted for cocaine. So you would think that alone would basically put him just, like, on the straight and narrow. At least watch your back, you know. Like, just be on your P's and Q's, you know. Just make sure everything is legit, everything is good. And then you're going to go hit this woman. And then, to make matters worse, instead of to try to, like, stay there and try to, like, you know, all right, I'll call the ambulance, whatever, he takes off. He's gone. They can't find him. Comes back to get some money out of his car and takes off again. And then finally, it's like, oh, yeah, I'll turn myself. And like, come on, man. What's the problem? What are you doing?
It looks bad. I mean, the things with the story is he could get off on he might not have to do any jail time, possibly. They can settle out of court. You know, this woman's like 25 years old. I'm sure Jones has a lot of money. He can probably pay for all of her expenses and then some. But the problem is Dana White, you know, the head of UFC, the president of UFC is going to have to do something. He's got that smile on his face. That smile's not going to be there for too long.
Now.
That's a lot of money. I mean, it's a big card. May 23rd, there's 2 title defenses on that card, but Jones is the biggest draw of the 2. So that they're going to have to find a replacement. Rumble will probably still fight since he's ready. They just have to find somebody. It's still a month out, so they could definitely find somebody who could fight. It just sucks because
it's going to hurt that card, though.
Yeah, financially it's going to hurt
a lot because, again, and then we were just talking about this before the show, trying to find like an interim champion and stuff. It's just not the same because it's just like Jones has become such a name in the sport, almost like a Ronda Rousey. Maybe I don't think he's quite as commercial as Ronda Rousey. I think more people are familiar with her than they are John Jones. But nonetheless, he's as big a star in MMA as she is. He's a big name, so it's like you can't just replace someone. That'd be like if LeBron did something. So, we'll just have someone else fill his shoes for a little bit.
I mean,
you can't do it.
They're gonna have, because I would imagine suspension's not going to be 6 months. It's probably going to be a year. I'm just guessing. Maybe that's too harsh, but I think it's going to have to be at least a year with no fights. You guys fights about 2 to 3 fights a year, depending on the fighter. So probably a year off. He's going to miss 3 fights. It's a lot of money. Who knows with the sponsorship? He's one of the few guys. I think it's him, Ronda, and one other person have exclusive deals with Reebok. Because UFC kind of is sponsored by Reebok, but only 3 fighters have exclusive deals with Reebok. That's huge. That's a lot of money lost.
Yeah.
Who knows? This could hurt him. It's not good looking good for John Jones. We're going to go off to NBA, though, a little more positive, something more positive note. Crazy NBA playoffs right now. Teams had 2 of the teams that played last night had an opportunity to close it out. Both teams were up 3-0 at one point. Let's first get into Atlanta-Brooklyn, a team that couldn't knock the other team out, but still, number 1 seed against number 8 seed. Series is tied at 2-2.
It's funny, man. We talk about this all the time. Atlanta deserves everything they got. Great team. A team that not many people talk about. I sometimes forget they were number 1 seed. And the interesting thing about this postseason, too, we were talking about this before, is the fact that, you know, it seemed like the only real good series we were going to have was L.A., San Antonio. And it seemed like all these teams are either going to sweep or maybe lose game, whatever. But no, I mean, their team's fighting. So, like, in this one, I mean, I don't know. I think Atlanta's still going to pull it off. But how about welcome back Darren Williams? Welcome back, man. It's been a while, man. I forgot he used to be able to play like that. It's like his old Utah days, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Atlanta's obviously the number 1 seed. They've had a lot of wins. A lot of wins this season, did really well. But I think their lack of playoff experience, I think, is showing. They've gone to the playoffs. They've been a successful team in the East, but they haven't gone deep. Like Chicago, like Cleveland, like Boston back in the day. So I think that lack of experience is showing. I don't know, either people are going to call it the weakness of the Eastern Conference and maybe the parity. I guess it depends if you're looking at a half glass, half empty, half full kind of glass. I would like to think that it's just really good competition because the next game we're going to talk about, Chicago-Milwaukee, that young Bucks team is tough and they are fearless. They're not as talented as Chicago. They don't have Derrick Rose, but this Derrick Rose, I was watching the game with my roommate last night. Derrick Rose, my roommate commented, he said he looks like he's just not as quick as he used to be. He's not explosive. He had a couple good crossovers and jumps, but he's not going 100 miles an hour at the basket anymore. He can't do that right now.
But what's weird about that is that those first 3 wins, he was looking like that.
Yeah.
He was looking fantastic. I'm like, oh, this is the Derrick Rose of old. I don't know what happened these last 2 games. Like, what's going on right now? I don't know if maybe...
Think it's his body?
I don't know.
Telling him something, maybe?
I don't know if they just got comfortable or maybe he's dealing with a little something that, he just doesn't want to make public right now. I don't know. Hopefully it's nothing major. I think we can still pull this off. But, again, it's true testament to Milwaukee. This is a team that was horrible last year.
Yeah.
And they're doing all this without Jabari Parker, by the way.
Yeah.
Who's only going to make that team even better.
Michael Carter-Williams kid is playing real tough. He's had a really good game.
So, these guys are playing with a lot of heart, a lot of passion. So you can't rule that out. Because a lot of times you're going to see that happen in the NBA. You're going to see great teams struggle against some teams like Milwaukee just because Milwaukee's hungry. They want to prove themselves. This is their NBA Finals, really.
Right. Last night, another team could have sealed the deal up 3-0 before last night's game. Memphis versus Portland. You got Marcus All over there, Zach Randolph, very talented young group of guys. They've been together for a little while now, got a little more playing experience. Always a tough team. Portland, in Washington last night, found a way to win.
Damian Lillard, man, he looked great that game. He kept that team alive, kept them in it. This is one of those series that I sometimes forget about because, they'll run away with it. It is what it is. But no, they're fighting back and, they're looking good. Memphis is going to win. Memphis is going to win the series, but at least they're making it exciting.
It's been good playoffs tonight. I think the game to watch, of course, is the LA Clippers, who are back in LA tonight, playing hosting the Spurs. That's probably the best series I think out right now. It's tied 2-2 for good reason because they're both talented teams. We're going to the next subject. Topic 3, we're going to NCAA basketball. We're talking about my favorite college basketball team, Duke Blue Devils. Just signed the number 1 recruit who's unsigned, number 3 recruit out of the ESPN's top 100 high school recruits. A kid by the name of Ingram. Is a 6'8" kid from, I believe it's Virginia. Virginia, you see him right there at one of the All-Star games, McDonald's All-American type games. Very talented. Michael and I watched some footage of him last night. It's cool. The footage actually shows Coach K and Coach Calipari from Kentucky watching the game at his local high school.
Yeah.
And so Duke, again, retains the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
If you don't know who Duke is, they're this small college basketball
Everybody
program.
knows who
Maybe
Duke
you haven't
is.
heard of them. Hopefully this kid will put them on the map.
Defending NCAA champions, have the number 1 recruiting class. Look at Coach K. All those kids just love him. They have Chase Jeter at number 11, Luke Kennard at number 24, Derek Thornton at number 17. So they have 4 of the top 25 guys now.
But back to this kid, though. He looks good.
Yeah.
He looks really good. The video we're watching, this is a big kid, 6'8", but, he's got a really good all-around game. He can shoot. He can play some defense. He's got good handling. He's just a really good presence.
Yeah.
A little lean. We talked about that. I think he'll put a little size on. I don't know if he's going to be like a Kevin Durant type player. He might, stay lean or whatnot, but he's a little bit more size. But nonetheless, man, I really like what I see. He's going to be good. And you figure this way, at least Duke's going to have him for 2 years. At least 2 years. No one and done anymore.
They get one and done. They got to stay. They got to stick around. It's great. Can't go freshman and get out. You got to stay. But he looks good.
No rent to players.
Because, when you're with Duke, you have to be able to shoot. Duke always has great shooters. He looks kind of like Jabari, maybe even a better ball handler than Jabari, because Jabari's like 6'8", 6'9", big guys, but he looks like he's going to be one of those swing men. He'll probably play a 2 position, even though he should be a 3. He'll probably be like LeBron every now and then, like kind of going up the court, like Durant does that. All those kind of players are all swing men now. Because when you're 6'8", you can't just be a big guy anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to be able to handle the ball. I think he can do that. That leads me to my next question about, because you saw Calipari and Coach K in that video clip, and you want to – it's weird because Coach K lost 3 freshmen. Very good players, all gone. Jahil Okafor, of course. Tyson is gone. But the thing is with that, though, Kentucky lost 7 players. 7 players of their 7 players left.
And that's why I think Kentucky has a little bit more to prove right now because, again, this is a team that everyone in the mama thought was going to run away with everything. They were going to win the NCAA tournament. Didn't happen. And then they lose 7 of their players. It's like this is a team and I know there were rumors of Calipari possibly leaving. I don't think that's going to happen right now. But nonetheless, there are a lot of question marks now. Again, it's Kentucky. They're going to be okay.
Right, they're not going to be
I'm sure they're going to be fine.
They can still get
But nonetheless, this is a huge question mark. What's this team going to look like? It's going to be an entirely different Kentucky team now.
Yeah. And are they going to have any leadership? They lost most of the guys who were really young. Now they're probably going to be a whole freshman team again, which – hey, Calipari did great with a couple years ago, all-freshman team. He's a great coach. That's what these coaches do. They're used to doing that. But with this new rule in place, it's going to be interesting to see. Now they have these guys for 2 years. Kind of scary. Remember, Anthony Davis right now would be a senior in Kentucky right now. Very scary. Great player for the Pelicans. We're going to go on to, Phillip Rivers just never leaves the conversation. Next topic is NFL. Talk about some Phillip Rivers. The trade the rumor won't go away.
Yeah.
It seems like the closer we get to the draft, which starts this Thursday in Chicago, the talk just continues.
Yes.
Phillip Rivers possibly traded. Maybe Tennessee. We get that second pick. Do you think that's going to happen, Mike? What do you think?
I don't know.
About that?
I think I could see him leaving. I just don't see Tennessee. I know I mentioned this in an old episode of the Clubhouse edition where I talked about like that draft class. You had Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, guys that have won a couple of titles each. Yeah. And he's a big name. He was a good quarterback in that draft. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but hasn't won anything. It hasn't really come close. You know what I mean? Being in San Diego. He's 33, I want to say. So he still has a little gas in the tank, but nonetheless, I mean, that window of opportunity is starting to close a little bit. You know what I mean? So if he wants to win, I just don't see him doing it with this team, and I certainly don't see him doing it in Tennessee.
We'll talk about the two teams, other teams that possibly could use a really good quarterback. Look at the Jets right now.
Yeah.
The Jets definitely need a quarterback. There could be a trade there.
And they've made a few moves, too, to try to strengthen that team a little bit, adding guys like Brandon Marshall, for example. You know?
For Chicago.
For Chicago.
But also, let's look at Philly. Let's talk about the mad, crazy genius Chip Kelly, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're making some interesting moves. They have 3 of the top worst QB-rated quarterbacks in the league right now, filling out that roster. They have Mr. Injury-prone himself, Sam Bradford. Could Sam Bradford be traded possibly to get that second pick?
That's the thing, man. Like, you'd have to trade him, and what else? You know what I mean? Because Sam Bradford that's not enough to trade.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. It seems to me like with everything that they've done, it seemed like their biggest piece was LaShawn McCoy, and he's gone. And then the next guy after that would have been Macklin. He's gone. So it's like, who else do you really have to trade at this point? I mean, they just brought over DeMarco Murray. They're not going to trade Murray. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know what he's doing, first of all, Chip Kelly in Philadelphia, but I have to assume that at least for now, he's content with what he has. He's going to try to make this work, see what what they look like, I guess, going into next year's offseason. But, yeah, I don't see what else he could possibly give up.
And, two, it's like we have the 2 quarterbacks, Mariota and Jameis. It seems like all this talk with the second pick it's all Mariota. So do you think that, I guess Jameis is number 1. I guess we have to go with that. I mean, that's the guess. We're guessing. I mean, look at your boy. I know your favorite quarterback in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers was projected to go early. You probably wish you would have, because what happened was he went late and then went to Green Bay and sat on the bench for a couple years and watched Brett Favre play, and then he became what he is now. So
we don't know. You remember a few years back again.
So you better hope Jameis doesn't go to Green Bay.
Let's not do that. Let's not get crazy. Everyone
maybe
just
Chicago.
Relax.
Maybe Chicago.
Everyone just relax.
Maybe Chicago.
I still don't know. We'll see. We'll see where his head's at.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be an interesting draft. I don't know what's going to happen.
It'll be a good draft. The 2 biggest guys won't be there. They're not going to be there. Yeah, Mariota's going to be in Hawaii. Jameis is going to be with his family, so not going to be there. But it's going to be exciting. It's going to be good. Make sure you check out the draft Thursday through the whole weekend. Big sports weekend coming up, folks. Floyd Mayweather, Kentucky Derby.
See what we're going to
do. We'll be checking out. I'm checking out for my Bills, even though we don't even have a first-round pick. It's sad. But we're going to go on to the next topic. Oh, perfect timing. Nice. Major League Baseball. Big trade. Josh Hamilton from the Angels. Very talented team. Josh Hamilton trade. A lot of money in this. What's up with Josh Hamilton? Why did this happen? Is this smart for the Angels? Why would they get rid of one of their best players?
It's tough, man. I mean, because this is a guy that had in and out, going back years ago to the minor leagues. This is a guy that was suspended a lot of games for drugs. This was an issue. Drugs, alcohol. Went to Cincinnati for I want to say a year or 2. Went to Texas, and then that's when he just blew up and became one of the biggest names in the game. Won an MVP in 2010. Goes to Anaheim, and I want to say it was $125 million for about 5 years or so. That contract alone was a little questionable in the first place. He even said himself that Artie Moreno knew what he was getting when he offered him that contract. They knew the risks that were involved. He didn't pan out. Hit about 31 home runs in about 2 years. Has been hurt a lot this year with his shoulders. He relapsed. Went back, drugs and alcohol, whatnot. Right now, the thing is he's not playing, and everything going on right now, Artie Moreno just wants to get rid of him at this point.
Because they're doing well without him. They have Trout, they have Pujols. They don't really need him.
Like I said, he's kind of been a bust for them. So going back to Texas, he's going to have that support system that he had back then. He's going to have that. It's going to help him out. Hopefully he can contribute to this team. Texas is not going to be a good team. They're not a good team. But, I mean, it might be good just to take some of the pressure off, get that support system. He did say that he would give some money back to Anaheim. So I think now, all they have to do is pay, I want to say $63 million over the next 3 years. That's just chump change.
Chump change,
No big deal. Still a lot of money. But nonetheless, I mean, they would have had to have paid him a lot more than that. But I want to say it's 63 over the next 3 years or whatnot. But it's a better deal for Texas because they're going to get this guy who knows? High risk, high reward. He could pan out for him, and they're only paying roughly about $7 million. So that's not bad, you know.
Angels, do you like the Angels lineup right now? They have, with Trout and Pujols and.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they still have ways to go. That's an interesting division, though, because you look at who's on top of that division. It's the Astros.
Yeah.
They're a team that's been horrible for the
no
last
one was really
few years.
predicting them to do that, to be the top right now.
I mean, they're the only team above 500 in that division. I mean, when you're going into this season, you would have thought, okay, Anaheim, Oakland, Seattle. These are the teams to look out for. Oakland was one of those teams, those suspect teams. Everyone was like high on like Anaheim and Seattle, but Houston, man, they're just finding ways to win. They're scrappy, looking like the Mets out there playing well.
So is it, early in the season, who do you think, in your opinion, is the best team in baseball right now? Are the Mets, I know I'm not sure if they're the real deal or not yet, but
I think there's a lot of potential, a lot of promise with that team. I don't think they're the real deal yet. Best team, that's tough because there's so many good teams out there. I mean, look, it seems like Detroit, they have the experience. A lot of those guys, average age, like their stars are like 30s.
Miguel Cabrera is very good.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Good,
So those guys are good. I mean, they're definitely, the Mets are definitely one of the hotter teams right now. Even the Yankees have actually kind of, heated up a little bit.
A-Rod's one home run away if you get $6 million.
Whether you like it or not, that's what's going to happen.
Willie Mays getting $6 million if he gets that $660.
Don't forget the Cubs, though. Cubs looking good.
Who? Yeah,
Cubbies.
no. Cubbies, baseball is in full swing. Everything's in full swing right now. We got great sports. We got NBA playoffs tonight. What are you watching tonight? What are you checking out on your sports channels? Hashtag 3MW here at the stream.tv. Let us know what you think, thoughts, concerns, questions. Always love to hear from you. Michael and I, it's another fun show today. Love talking to you. 3-minute warning. I'm David Griffin. As always, you can find me at GriffinDE on Twitter.
And you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and David and myself right here on the stream.tv on the Arrow After Show.
And we will see you tomorrow for some more 3-minute warning.